as part of our meditation this evening, these words from Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj from the book The Blissful Life. There are always moments when one feels empty and alone. Such moments are most desirable because it means that the soul has passed its moorings and is sailing for distant places. This is detachment, when the old is over and the new has not yet come. If you are afraid, that state may be distressing, but there's really nothing to be afraid of. Remember the instruction. Whatever you come across, go beyond. Whatever you come across, go beyond. That's particularly meaningful for the meditative state, because once in a while, something truly exalting, truly extraordinary occurs. But even that, be aware of it, dive into the bliss of it, but be ready to let it go, so that you can go beyond even that, into the unknown bliss that it is. For these moments, during these very auspicious days and evenings, the feelings and passions are so high and hopes are spreading across the world. Tune into that, because that's our birthplace. A place where there's eternal joy, eternal love, eternal bliss. Watch and feel. I usually take my clues and cues from people who talk to me about their problems in life. Recently, a very talented, very beautiful, very intelligent young woman told me that no matter how she tries, she can't seem to get rid of the ghost, is her words, the ghost of the father who found her invisible. That was the statement. And she started to tell me about this father. And I said, I don't want to hear about that father, because He found you invisible. She was surprised to hear that I didn't want to learn more about the father. But why should I? The father obviously wasn't a father. The father obviously had no preparation to love, especially a child, eager for his love, an only child, eager for his love. But I said, how is it that, as bright as you are, you're still searching for something that you already have? Many people love her. She's surrounded by a family that loves her. But that love, the Father's love, she's still searching for. It still leaves her life incomplete. The Father's still alive. It's not possible for him at this stage to become the Father that she wanted, and he's not interested in it. So I said, we have to get to the root of it and find out why you still feel incomplete, why you're chasing ghosts, why. By the way, Martha, was it the microphone supposed to be on? No? On the side? Oh. The Surratt said to me, he's not going to miss the program, he's going to listen to it later. It'll be a little hard for some people. Might have picked up with the camera. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I'll put it on. Yes. Surratt hadn't said that, I would have. And we talked about it. And she told me something very interesting. She said, because her father was a certain type of individual, very self-absorbed, unable to see the needs or the love that were around him, she found herself, after she had matured, looking for the same type of person as her father, thinking that if she could find the love and the attention that she had received as a child through these new people, then she would be able to drop her father. But the problem was she was looking towards the same selfish, self-involved people who reminded her of her father for that fulfillment. It couldn't happen. She's making one great mistake. And I thought, if we listen to these words of Gurdjieff from his textbook of yoga psychology, we would be able to understand how to help her. Not here tonight, but I will email these words to her and see if she understands how these words, if fully understood, would release her from the life she's had that is not allowing her to enjoy her talents, to enjoy the people around her, to enjoy the beauty. There's my Jerry. Jerry says every moment is beautiful in life. It's significant. We want her to enjoy life the way we do. Listen to Gurdjieff's words. They're very lofty. They have their origin in truth itself, and yet they apply directly to this young woman. Your consciousness is never contaminated by thoughts or wrongful activities. And now Gurdjieff lists a whole grouping: thoughts, feelings, images, activities, hell and heaven, birth and death, material prosperity and poverty, pain and pleasure, ideas and images, lust and desire, greed and attachment. All of these belong to the realm of your thinking mind. But pure consciousness is merely a witness, a spectator, observing the activities related to the thinking mind. It appears to experience various conditions of the thinking mind. But when the mind becomes calm by means of meditation, then pure consciousness abides as self in its own true form. Once more, that first sentence. Your consciousness is never contaminated by thoughts or wrongful activities. What is the first thing that our friend, he is a friend, a loved friend, needs to understand, needs to realize, to begin the breaking free? But she's never been able to break free of her need for hypocrisy. Anybody? What does she have to start with? Anybody see the title on the blackboard again? Anybody remember it? The person is not real. And she decided not to stay. Were you going to say something?
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
So she just needs to stop what she's doing.
Needs to stop what she's always done.
Not just necessarily stop what she's always done. Stop.
That's what she's always done.
Stop the thinking.
That's to stop the thinking. Has to stop thinking, period. But if she can't do that, he has to stop thinking the thoughts that are keeping her in. So what's the first thought? Anybody know?
Her father's wrongdoing.
That her father's wrongdoing? What's the primal thought? That's like the secondary. That's the third.
She is this person that he doesn't love.
Okay, we're getting close.
I feel unloved.
Wait, now we don't get excited. I know it's a hot topic. We heard just now that it's thinking in the old way, with the old images, with the old judgments, with the old impressions. That's part of it. But the first mistake, the primal mistake, is identifying what? Mind, body, and senses. Whose mind, body, and hers? Hers as what? As a person that needs to be loved by a father. As number one, as a daughter. A daughter is only one of our labels. I have a hat that says daughter of parents who are deceased. I have a hat that says I'm a mother. I have a hat that says I'm a student. I have a hat that says I'm a wife. I have a hat that says I'm a friend. Don't you have all these hats? You have lots of hats. But does that hat make us a reality? The hat is a label of a role we're playing. Because we're actors in life. You know for yourself, you're someone removed from all those labels. You know, I am that I am. Not that I am that hat or this hat or a hat I haven't gotten yet. So the first mistake is identifying herself as separate from the self. Because what was that first statement that Virgin made? Remember, I read it twice.
Pure consciousness.
Pure consciousness is not contaminated by the thoughts of the mind, the activities of the mind, the judgments of the mind. So what have we learned from Virgil's statement? And we're finding many of such extraordinary statements in the textbook of yoga psychology, fundamentals of yoga, with great texts of yogas. In the gift shop, that's commercial. They're brilliant. What can we learn from those words of Virgil? And they stem from the Contaminated Sutras. What can we learn that will stop us from being bogged down, held back by our wrong thinking? What can change our whole outlook? Identification. Who said it? Who raised hand? Who said it? Ah, my old friend. Identification with that which we are not. Because if we break the illusion that we're the daughter after all, we feel like one daughter when we're 5, we feel like another daughter when we're 14, another daughter when we're 18. Our views change about our relationship with our mother, with our father, right? Jackie, your mother's sitting right next to you. Didn't you have a different image of your mother when you were 5 than you have now? It's much better now, right? But we all do. We look through the eyes of a child, we look through the eyes of a teenager, we look through the eyes of someone who married and is now protective of the mother who used to protect us. Sometimes that happens. The roles change. But they're roles. That's what we have to see. And here's the next jump. Once we begin to see that our real happiness lies in not identifying ourselves as a person separate from the life force of pure consciousness, separate from the peace and the joy and the knowledge and the power. What follows after that? If we're not separate, then the people from whom we feel separated or resentful, it's not their fault either. They're also identifying with a person whom they're not. And if we can understand and forgive our confusion, our ignorance, because we needed to hear the truth from these enlightened beings, what you'll hear in a minute from another enlightened being. This was one, the next one is Srimad Sargadatta Maharaj, who will tell us emphatically the person is not real. Why is the person not real? Some of you know, because we've gone over this. Some of you know. Why cannot the person be real? It's a game. You know, what is it? What they play? It's hard. It's because the person is constantly changing, and the real has been defined as that which does not change. So once we begin applying this to our own lives, we find it very easy, number one, to forgive, and then to forget. We can forgive intellectually, but if we know that people do the best they can do, but they're acting out of their ignorance or conditioning, it's so easy to drop those people and not expect so much from them. They're struggling the way we're struggling. Any questions about this? I usually like to take longer, but I want to give us just a taste of a question and a response from Virgil. They fit together like a glove and a hand. Any questions about this? Because the main thing that young woman has to do, I think she gets it now. She said she understands it now. Is not to put any more fuel to those memories. And the way to do that is each time any image, any recollection, any memory returns of her childhood, of her time with this father who never acknowledged her presence. Said he loved her, but it rang hollow, even to a little one. That's what she said. Each time that memory comes back, each time that old, empty feeling comes back, she's going to switch her attention from that to something else that doesn't disturb. She said, I'm not going to give it my attention. And that was after talking about the true meaning of the Dante teachings, that the person is not real. We can enjoy those flowers. I cannot tell anymore if those are artificial or real. They do such wonderful things. Does anyone know? They're real? Well, you look just as beautiful and you're not real. We're real like a wave on an ocean is real. When you see the wave coming towards you, you like waves? The ocean came from Florida. I would hope you like it. When you see a wave coming towards you, it's a beautiful sight. The circles flying the waves. But it's only real in the present. The next instant, it is submerged again or merged again with the ocean. That's what happens to us in meditation or between incarnations. That everything related to the ego, which is the past, drops away, and we're left with only pure consciousness or pure awareness, uncontaminated by anything that's gone outside, in the world, outside of this. We often wonder, there are a number of Virgie's senior people, meaning been at the ashram with him a very long time. We often wondered how, when for different reasons people complained against this member of the ashram, this resident, this person insulted, this person isn't doing this. Virgie would listen and say, oh, really? Too bad. And that same night, he'd be extra nice to the one we had complained of. Why? Because he knew that we were all right, except for our complaints. But we were not suffering from what they were suffering. They had problems that we didn't even know about, the ones against whom we were complaining. Their lives were empty of emptiness. They hadn't known love, perhaps the way some others had known love. So they needed more attention, not less. They needed more praise, not punishment from the Guru, not for the Guru to ignore them because they had misbehaved. After a while, we began to get that. And so we at least realized that we couldn't quite bring ourselves to be extra nice to people who had hurt us deeply. At least we didn't continue blaming them. And that made a very big difference. The Guru is always the example we need. Any questions? Because the next reading ties in perfectly to the need to stop identifying with that which we are, to stop blaming ourselves for things that we were conditioned to say or conditioned to do. You all understand? It was made very clear by Buddha. It's not our fault. If we knew better, we would do better. And if they knew better, they would do better. Yes.
My question is, what is the place for grief? Grief over loss. What is the difference between healthy grief that's part of a process and getting stuck in the thinking about
whether you should grieve or not grieve.
Yeah, no. Am I stuck in thinking about the memories, or am I grieving in a healthy way that lets me have my feelings and that's part of the letting go?
The grief that is based on what is real. If you're feeling that grief, it's healthy to express it, to allow it to be there. But if you're feeling grief about a memory of something, that's not real. Because how do we know? How do we know when the grief is real and when it's about the memory of grief, the memory of the cause? How do we know that?
We feel it in our body when it's real.
Okay, we feel it in our body when it's real. That's very present. And what would be wrong would be to block that, to cut that off. Because I just remembered a line that I love from the Seagull, part of Masha. It's the first line in the play The Seagull. Someone asked, Masha, why do you always wear black? And she says, I'm in mourning for my life. There's grief for what is actual, and that is justifiable. Because, of course, we're human beings, we aren't. But there's grief that has more to do with our sense of loss in life and less to do with the person or the pet or whatever we're grieving. And as you said, we feel it in the body. The other is felt where?
In the head.
And it gives a headache. Sometimes if you're expressing grief that's real, it releases all the headaches. Because you're finally letting out, having an excuse to let. We're grieving for something. But if the other grief feels unnatural, feels like it's coming more from here than here, then you know. I hope you got that because I can't say it again. I don't even know what I said. But it felt right. Okay. You all understand that? Yeah, grieving is a lot to feel when it's remembered grief than when it's actual coming from your whole being. And losing our loved ones allows that catharsis to take place. Our grief has much more to do with something beyond the loss of this one body. It's a compassion for all loss. We, as yogis, as meditators, we're feeling more and more all the time a connection to everyone. So if we're happy and yet we turn on CNN and we see how many are miserable across the ocean, you can't stay that. It has its effect. So if you really want to be happy, don't watch the news. Don't read the newspapers. Give yourself happiness for a day. And then you can feel even more. Anybody else? First, please.
On the other hand, even the body, even that grief that we feel in our body, from the Vedantic point of view, could be said is not real either, because it's the body which is not real.
I know, but you know what Guruji would say? That's true to Rahul. Because he said the real meditation is the meditation that includes both the divine and the Latin. He always said that first we have to experience what it really means to love on earth. Rumi had that understanding. he combined that feeling of powerful union, powerful love on earth before we're ready for it. We have to be ready for that totally all consuming love that occurs between a disciple and his guru, her guru, and a seeker that comes face to face with self realization. You need a little rehearsal right down here. A little taste what it means to lose yourself completely in love to another human being. It's only, according to them, it's only a fraction of what you'll be feeling when you meet your eternal love, the divine love, and its union, an explosion of light and bliss. You need a rehearsal, we're told. I haven't been there, but there's no reason we shouldn't believe the Brahmananda Manoj. It started after mine. So yes, I'm what you thought. Is it Bruce? Am I right? No. No.
Money.
Yeah.
Water.
Walter. Let's look at the Walter, you're right. And yet it's too dry. This is more fun. We need fun. And yet, it's fun and we enjoy and we appreciate the newness of the Vedantic teachings each time we hear them. But it's very serious. We don't want 2010 to be like 2009, do we? It was global karma, individual karma. It hasn't been good. So we need transformation. And it starts very near. It starts very close with us. Want to change the world, we're told by Krishnamurti, and Chakracharya, and all the enlightenment. We have to start very near. We have to change ourselves. Otherwise, we can't change the people who still regard us as separate. If we can greet and meet and see people who regard themselves as enemies of us or critics of us or judges of us, if we can see them innocently and not judge them, even though they're judging us, something happens to those judges because they want very badly not to be judged. But we have to start. You can't expect them. We've had the privilege of listening to these teachings. They may not.
So take a deep breath. And now as you breathe out, release all the language, all the words. This will only be 60 seconds. So feel yourself letting go and opening up to this now. Feeling it, perceiving it, imbibing it. Sometimes it only takes 1 minute to reconnect with your real life, your real home. I am that I am. That is our home. Krishna Devi, would you lead us in our traditional prayer? Chapita Twameva, Twameva Bandus, Chastaka Twameva, Twameva Vidya, Dravinam Twameva, Twameva Sarvam, Mama Deva Deva. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Thank you, Krishna Devi. And if some of you are feeling very high, that you may need a designated driver, take 2 cookies. Chocolate chip is a great way to come back to